What is going on, guys? We are back again this year predicting the Call of Duty Championships. It starts next week on, what is it, June 26th. Um, yeah, last year I made the same video predicting champs for Modern Warfare 3, and I didn't do very good. I think I had FaZe winning it all. I think I had them beating Toronto because they were like easily the two best teams throughout the season last year. It did not go that way. It was Optic beating New York, I believe, last year. So my bracket didn't do all that great, but well, you know how it is this year. Perfect bracket wins like $10,000 or something. And here it is, right here. This is going to be the perfect bracket for Call of Duty Champs in Black Ops 6, the 2024-2025 season. So without further ado, let's get it right into it. I'm pretty much just gonna be like winging most of it, just like my thoughts on the teams. Um, just I don't. I'm gonna use Breaking Point for like the first round, just for like some stats, so we can just like get a feel for the teams. But after that, pretty much just gonna wing it. First match is the number one seed LA Thieves versus the 8 seed Boston Breach, and honestly, I don't see this going any other way than a 3-0. If you want to give Boston a map, um, then like maybe it's the S&D, but even their S&D, they haven't been doing that great. Meanwhile, LA have just hey, they figured out S&D. They've been dominating. The Thieves are the best control team in the league, so they're gonna win that one. And then Hardpoint is usually just the better team can win the Hardpoint, and especially with the Thieves with the higher seed, they're gonna be able to pick that map one, and it's gonna be their map. They're gonna beat Boston on it. They're just better at it. Better at S&D, better at control. This is a 3-0 for the LA Thieves. They've been the best team in the back nine of the season, second half of the season, and so I don't see the 8 seed squeaking into the playoffs, into champs, just barely. The Boston Breach, I don't even see them taking a map off the Thieves. This could be a slaughter. But as we go down to the 4 and 5 seed, it's going to be the Vancouver Surge versus the Miami Heretics, and this one has a Game 5, Round 11 written all over it. I mean, Miami has been super good the last few majors, especially on LAN, especially online. I mean, they went like 7-0 at the last major to get the number one seed, and I think ended up getting top three at the last major. So they've really figured it out. Surge, they got second place in two straight majors, three straight if you count the online minors. Um, and they have just been consistently like a top three team ever since they picked up Neptune all year. The last major four, they kind of had a just terrible weekend. They get 3-0'd by LA Thieves and then just lose an absolute upset to the Vegas Falcons, and they finish top 12. I don't want to put the recency bias, though, too heavy on the Surge here because at the end of the day, the Surge have been a better team than Miami all year, and it's been a month since that last major. A lot of time for all of these teams to fix their mistakes, get better map pools, and just figure stuff out. Miami is good enough, especially at S&D, to I say force this one to Game 5, maybe even Round 11. But I think that the Vancouver Surge just all year have been a top 2 or 3 team in this game. Um, and don't get me wrong, Miami is a super exciting team. They've definitely figured it out. And if you have Miami winning this one, I don't blame you at all. But I have the Surge taking this one. I think they're just a little bit better. Real quick, the odds for the Thieves Breach is just absurd. Thieves are minus 3,000 and Breach are plus 800. And 96% of the votes are on the Thieves for that match. For the Surge, I'm pretty sure the odds are completely even with both teams at minus 118. At least that's how it was the last time I checked. See if anything's different. Nope, they are the same. However, the vote is actually 73% Miami and only 27% Vancouver on the Breaking Point site. So it seems like the fans are a lot heavier on Miami. Maybe some of that recency bias is coming into play from the last major. But I know I know this is a different Surge team from the last 2 years, like different players, completely different coaching and management as well. But it seems like every single year the Surge at the last major finish top 12, but then they come into champs and just look like a completely new team. And I think that's going to happen again this year. Bad placing last major, Surge come in, beat up on the Heretics. in a close one, and advance to the next round. Let's move on. I don't want this video to get too long here. FaZe versus Optic, classic rivalry matchup here. FaZe is going to be the 2 seed for the first time in the CDL era at Champs, which is nuts. And fun fact, every single Champs from Cold War on, in my bracket prediction, I have picked FaZe to win the whole thing. And I am not a FaZe fan at all, but it's just like, I feel like Champs, the best team the whole year, wins more times than not. And so they've had the number 1 seed every single year, except for this year. And they haven't been winning Champs, except for at Cold War. So they get the 2 seed this year. They're playing Optic. FaZe is going to be minus 263 point favorites. And Optic is the plus 180 underdog. 62% of the vote is on FaZe in this matchup, and 38% is on Optic. That's a lot closer than I feel like it should be, just probably because all the Optic fans, which is the majority of the fan base here in the Call of Duty League, are just picking Optic because they want them to win. But at the end of the day, FaZe is just too good. They're just too good. Optic has had way too many speed bumps and just inconsistencies this year. Yeah, I just don't see Optic winning this one against FaZe. Optic has owned FaZe in years past, but not this year. I'm pretty sure it's been all FaZe head-to-head. I think we can even check that. Yeah, it's been all FaZe this year. They're 3-0. So, yeah, I'm going to have FaZe. And I don't even think I'll have Optic winning a map, to be honest. I say this is a 3-0. Optic is just too inconsistent. Mercules, great pickup, I guess. But I don't know. They're just inconsistent, and I don't trust them the way I trust FaZe a lot more. Ultra and Carolina to end out our day and end out round 1 on Thursday the 26th. I'm going to have Ultra winning this one. I think at the last major, these two teams actually matched up, and Ultra barely beat them, like in a game 5 in the losers bracket there. So Ultra have honestly looked very shaky. Not the Ultra that we're used to seeing. Gosh, if this would load. But Carolina, however, is ever since they dropped Vivid and picked up, who did they even pick up? I don't know. It's some rookie. Oh God, what's his name? I'm not even gonna remember. But they have just fallen off the map completely. Like, this team in the first half of the season was so good. Like, they got second place the first minor. And they were always just a very solid team, but then they dropped Vivid for some reason, and now they're not good anymore, and they've been horrible. They put up a fight in the last major against Toronto, but yeah, it looks like Toronto beat them 3-2, and I'll give Carolina a map. Maybe they win the S&D, or just like surprisingly win the first hard point and go up 1-0 in the series. But Ultra are just a lot better than Carolina, and I didn't like Carolina's decision to drop Vivid. And so, yeah, it looks like 95% of the vote is on Toronto and only 5% is on Carolina, so the fan base agrees with me. And the odds are Ultra minus 385, Carolina plus 240. Yeah. So if you're looking at an upset in the first round, there's no upset. I think whoever wins this, no one's a favorite, no one's an upset. But if there is an upset, it would probably be Optic beating FaZe. Just if FaZe comes out flat-footed and Optic, Shotzzy is godlike, or Dashy has a good series, maybe it's doable. But I think in Champs, it's pretty safe to just go with the favorite seeds, especially this year. Like, the top 4, I feel like, are pretty ahead of the bottom 8. I mean, even just the top 2, Thieves and FaZe, are leagues ahead of everyone. But anyway, yeah, that is the first round. We'll go down to the losers bracket here. I'll start to speed things up a little bit. I'm putting the phone away, putting Breaking Point away, and we're just going to roll. Breach or Heretics? You got to love Heretics in this season, or in this matchup, to bounce back against just a weaker Boston team. I think maybe Boston get a map against the Heretics in this one. Heretics are so strong at S&D that they probably win that, so maybe Breach win like the first hard point, or win like a cheeky round 5 control or something. But I like the Heretics to beat the 8 seed. We have no upsets so far in this bracket. I don't have this pre-planned either. I'm just rolling right now. So yeah, Boston Breach finish 7th, 8th in champs this year. They've just had a mid-season. I don't know. They're not that exciting, whereas Miami has actually shown a lot of upside this year. So give me Miami in elimination round 1. And same thing down here. I'm just so low on Carolina. Like, I this new roster they put together in the second half of the season, they have just looked awful. Like, they were a 3 seed or a 4 seed halfway through the season, going into champs, but they fell off so bad that I think they ended as the 6th seed. The only reason they're in champs is because of all the points they accumulated early in the season, and they're just not that good anymore. I'll have Optic 3-0ing them, I think. Or do I give them some maps? I don't know. TJ, the Optic Killer, I'll give him 2 maps. I say it goes round 5 or game 5. But maybe Optic just smoke him in the S&D. Yeah, I like that. Optic moving on. So now your fan base can't come at me. Can't be too mad. I have them winning 1 at least. And Carolina also. So just the 7 and 8 seed. Or I guess is Optic? Yeah, Optic's the 7th seed. And Carolina is the 6th seed, right? That has to be correct. Because FaZe is the 2 seed, yeah. 2-7, 3-6. How did Carolina get a higher seed than Optic? That's insane. Anyway, Optic advancing to elimination round 2. But to find out who they face, we got to go up here. It's either going to be the Thieves or Surge. And this one's interesting because I like Vancouver in this tournament. I really do. But they just all year have not been able to figure out how to beat LA Thieves. Whenever they face them in the championship, they get 4-0 slammed. Actually, I think in the minor, it went to game 7. Yeah, Thieves beat them 4-3 at the minor online tournament. But this is LAN, and the Thieves, the last 2 majors, have just looked dominant. Not just dominant against everyone in the league, but specifically against Vancouver. I don't think we've... Yeah, and I'm a Vancouver Surge fan, so I can say I don't think we've beat the Thieves once this year. I think maybe they come out and like win the first 2 maps and make it crazy, or just force game 5 because I just like the way they're going to play in this tournament. I think they're going to come out fresh and reset and just be an absolute team to deal with. But just to pick anyone to beat the Thieves right now in this tournament is too ballsy. So we're sticking with no upsets. I guess if Optic is a 6 seed, or if Optic's a 7 seed and Carolina is a 6 seed, I guess this is an upset. But I'm not even going to count that because Carolina's so bad. So I'm still rocking with no upsets so far. But I think Vancouver will make it scary. They'll make it close. Then we got FaZe and Ultra. And I think I'm going to be boring here. Ultra is always a spicy pick to beat one of the top teams. They always were when they had Scrap. But they don't have Scrap anymore. I love Beans. I think Beans is a great player. I think he has a lot of emotion. And he can pretty much go head-to-head with anyone, toe-to-toe. He's a very clutch player as well. Who else does roster have? Joe Deceives has been great this year. Just an absolute come-up player in the league. CleanX and Inside are always solid. But at the end of the day, FaZe, this roster is just good, and they're just too good. I think they make it interesting. I'll say 3-1. 3-1 FaZe. Maybe Toronto taking S&D or the control off of them. But yeah, I'm going to be boring and have the best 2 teams in the league that are just leagues above everyone. They're going to be in the winner's final. Is this happening on Sunday or Saturday? It doesn't say the schedule. I think this happens on Sunday now. I think they changed it. But we'll see. Yeah. So going into Sunday, we got Thieves and FaZe, the top 2 seeds, top 2 teams in the league, dropping Toronto and Vancouver Surge down. This is good. I'm going to leave Vancouver and Optic. I'm going to leave it for second here. I'm going to go through Miami and Toronto first. I think this would be a good series. But I honestly I think I like Miami in this matchup here. Usually when teams get dropped, whether it's like anywhere from round 2 on, whenever they get dropped in the losers bracket, they just seem to lose again. They just have a losing record, And a lot of teams, even just like up here in the winners final, can get 3-0'd and then 3-0'd right back again. Meanwhile, Miami's the team coming off a win here. Their guns are hot. And, this one is tough because Toronto has a great roster. And they made that run in like Major 3, I think, with Mercules, where they got all the way to top 3. But they just can't ice up, I think. And I think Miami has showed a lot of resilience this year. And I think they make it happen here. I think they beat Toronto in elimination round 2, knocking the Ultra out of champs in was this 5th, 6th. Yeah, so they get top 6 at champs, and Miami has a chance to get top 4, or they are top 4. They have a chance to get top 3. Fuck it, I'll say 3-0. Yeah, I'm gonna go with my trend here, where they lose a hard fought battle to FaZe, and then they just have nothing left. I'll take Miami on a shocking 3-0 against Toronto there. And then elimination round 2, loser of this will go home. And I know what I said with teams dropping down, and then they lose again. But I just don't see Vancouver losing to Optic. Optic, their guns might be hot after this, and they might take a hard point. Their hard point looked amazing. They looked incredible in the last major. Optic did. But Vancouver has a very good hard point too. That was, I think, their main struggle the last major with some of their hard points. But I think in the last month they can turn it around and fix their mistakes. Also, the Surge are terrible at control, but like they have been all year, and I think they won a few controls in the last major, whether it was online qualifiers or on LAN 2. But I think this month break is a big opportunity for Surge to completely switch their control around and figure it out. And I think they do here. I'll say Surge win this one 3-1. Even if it goes map 5, I like Vancouver just to beat Optic. Optic beat Vancouver online once in kind of a shocking, I think it was a 3-0 series. In a match that Vancouver was like minus 300 favorites. And I think that's what they should be. Again, like I said, I'm high on Vancouver coming into champs, just because they've been a solid like top 2, top 3 team all year, and that is not what Optic has been. Optic has been just such a letdown this year, and I think this tournament will be no different. They can get past Carolina, but in terms of going up against the top dogs in this tournament here, I think Surge is just the better team by far. Which means we have a rematch to get top 3. Oh man, this is good. And I think this makes sense. Like Toronto, you could make a case for like being a top 3 team in the league. When they're on, they're on. But Miami and Surge are right there. And I think this is a pretty good top 4 to have. Who plays first? It has to be this. I think this is Sunday. No. They definitely play first on Sunday. This is the morning match. So Miami versus Surge rematch. Telling you, oh man, Miami's just the losers bracket run. But I just don't think they're good enough. I think I'm high on the Surge in this tournament. Yeah, I got the Surge 3-1. Miami's good, but it seems like anytime the Surge are in this position in any of the majors, they just find a way to keep winning. And I think they can beat Miami here 3-1. Maybe Miami takes like a game 5 or a game 2 round 11 to win the S&D, but in the respawns I'll take the Surge. And Surge are at least top 3 at champs, and then we have Thieves and FaZe in the winners final. And this is just so interesting. Because whoever I have winning this winners final doesn't. It's a best of 9. Nice, I like that. That doesn't necessarily mean like they're the better team and the best team, and they're gonna win the grand finals. Although usually, when's the last time the losers bracket winner has won champs? I'm pretty sure like all the champs winners are always undefeated. Like they always go undefeated in the bracket to win champs. I don't remember if Optic did last year. I think they did. I think New York was coming out of losers last year. Um, but before that, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure most teams just go undefeated. But we'll see. Thieves and FaZe. FaZe won the first two majors. Thieves won the last two majors. Oh my God, this is tough. I might have to cut this out. Just pause it a little bit to think about it. All right, I think I'm gonna do something crazy here. Um, the Thieves have been the best team all year. Like they deserve the number one seed. They showed at the last major, and the reason they beat FaZe in the grand finals at the last major was because of their map pool. They were just so much deeper. They figured out their S&D, and they just proved themselves the better team. However, the month break that we've had, I trust FaZe and their organization, their roster, and their process to deepen that map pool and fix some of their mistakes, specifically in S&D. And I think that although they have some obstacles to get through, like Optic and Toronto before they get to Thieves, I think FaZe just has their eyes on LA, and I think they will make some game plans to reverse the script. And I'm gonna do something crazy. I think that in Winners Final, Atlanta FaZe come out and shock the LA Thieves and 3-0 them. You never know how things can go, who's going to win that last rotation when it's 240 to 240 in map 1. Could be a game 2 round 11, just timing thing. Um, and although Thieves have been dominant in control, I think they could get frazzled if you just go down 2-0 to FaZe. I do this every flippin' year where I just trust the FaZe roster, the Tiny Tears, to just, like, I just have more faith in them, confidence. They're the safe pick to just be the better team at the end of the year. I do this every year. I put FaZe in the grand finals, and I usually have them winning. And I'm catching myself doing it again. I told myself coming into my champs predictions that there's no way anyone beats the Thieves this year. Like, it is their year. Their roster that they've built is just so dominant with Scrap and Hydra. And Envoy's had a surprisingly great year with this roster, with this team. And they could very well just go down and they get 3-0'd by FaZe, but then they're like, all right, let's just slam the Surge. Like, the Thieves know how to play the Surge. They talked about it in the interview, about how Surge just kind of like to flood the hill and hardpoint and just flood the front. And if you just have the irons down, then Surge are actually pretty easy to beat. And it seems like most teams haven't figured that out. If Surge can fix that and find different ways to break hills against the Thieves and hardpoint, then maybe they can take a hardpoint off of them and shock them. But in terms of just the roster, I just I just feel like in the comms, Scrap is going to be like, all right, yeah, FaZe slammed us, caught us off guard. Let's go slam Surge, and we'll be right back in the grand finals. Surge, I feel like, have consistently, whenever like the Thieves or FaZe just have a bad tournament, the Surge are always consistent enough and there to scoop up second place. Like, they've consistently been the third best team in Black Ops 6 all year behind Thieves and FaZe. And just when one of Thieves and FaZe drop off, Surge are there to get second place and lose to the other one, whatever one didn't drop off. This time, it's champs. I don't think either of these teams are going to drop off FaZe or Thieves. So I think Surge, throughout the year, they've been there, they've been good, they've been consistent. I think they get third place at champs. But Thieves drop down and slam them. And then the grand finals, if you don't have this as your grand finals, again, I say this every year, I said it last year, picking FaZe and Ultra in the grand finals because they were the two best teams all year. I was like, if you don't have these two in the grand finals, I don't know what you're doing. And it was Optic and New York in the grand finals last year. But I don't know. You never know what's going to happen, who's going to come out hot. But I just think this year, even more than last year, these two teams are just leagues ahead of everybody, and they deserve to be in the grand finals. FaZe figure it out, but then Thieves maybe figure it out and bounce back. And we have a rematch of the grand finals at the last major where Thieves just had a deeper map pool in that best of 7. I think they ended up winning 4-2. Where FaZe won both controls. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember what FaZe won, but they lost all the S&Ds, I'm pretty sure. But this one's a best of 9, so the map pool is even more important. However, FaZe has the upper hand. They did last major too. They got the veto advantage, and it didn't matter. Thieves were just that good. Who's gonna win it all? Do FaZe go undefeated and win champs, or do Thieves cement themselves as the best team this year, which they did in the second half of the season, and come back and beat FaZe? I just think this month break is enough for FaZe to figure it out, and they're good enough and smart enough to figure it out. Meanwhile, the Thieves, they're a newer roster this year, and although they lost the first 2 majors, they eventually figured it out with each other to just dominate the second half of the year and win the last 2 majors. But I don't know. You never know, just with cockiness on this roster and just individual talent and just raw, I just trust FaZe more. So I'm not FaZe winning champs for like the 6th year in a row. Well, who knows, man? I mean, they were the number 1 seed every year, and this year then they're the number 2 seed, and maybe that just humbles them a little bit and puts them to work a little bit more and gets them over the hump. And Scrap last time he was in the grand finals in Modern Warfare 2, literally got 5-0 slammed by the New York Subliners. And maybe that happens again. Give them 2 maps. Maybe they're just like dominant in control or something, but FaZe win everything else. 5-2. Or is it better than that? What if it goes 5-4? Oh, that'd be sick. No, I'm gonna stick with the FaZe dominance, I think. Fuck it. Let's make it exciting. 5-4. There it is. Let's do it. There's the perfect bracket. About to win myself $10,000 or whatever it is. Submit, maybe? Alright. I guess it's not letting me yet. But this is how I'm going to submit it. I say FaZe take it all, and Drawza gets his revenge on Scrap from that last major there. Let me know who you have winning. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. It probably was. So if you made it to the end, thank you very much for listening to me blab about getting Call of Duty professional video games for this long. Let me know who you have winning. Maybe tell me a dark horse team, like kind of Surge or my dark horse to get 3rd. Even Miami, you could say, are a dark horse. If you have Optic winning it all, let me know why. Just because I won't believe you. If you have Thieves winning it all, perfect. Ultra could be sleeper, but I don't know. I think this is the way to go. I like my bracket. I'm excited to watch. It should be a good tournament. It should be fun. I think Black Ops 6 has been a great year. A lot of people are saying that the rosters are like too strong, or they just don't like how it's gone this year. And maybe part of that reason is because Optic has done so bad. And when Optic does bad, the league does bad. And when Optic does good, the league is good. Oh, Modern Warfare 3 was so good. No, it wasn't. Modern Warfare 3 sucked. All right. But I've really enjoyed Black Ops 6 this year, so I don't know. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know who you have winning, and I'll talk to you. Peace.